Thank you for telling me I was muted. Now you can hear me, I guess. Okay, great. All right, so here's the attendees of Fly School 3 last year in at the Salta Center in Costa Rica, as Brian Brown mentioned. So next year we're going to be having this here too. I started off with a fun thing where, sitting at dinner and something is biting me. And of course, I look down and there's a big horse fly on my leg and on my foot. And I wanted to take a photo of it biting me. So I yelled at one of the students to go grab my camera, and they came down and said, "Oh shoot, I forgot the flash. Couldn't you go grab the flash? Oh shoot, you forgot the diffuser." Anyway, I just ended up catching it for them for their collection, and you can see it's all filled with my blood. So somewhere in Costa Rica is a specimen filled with my blood in their collection. But we did have some blood-feeding flies there, like some tabanids. There were lots of these in the building, as well as lots of simuliids. Ironically, orange ones. So the orange black flies, I guess, is the new name for those. Very beautiful creatures, but obviously like to bite. But we didn't get bit too much there, not even by mosquitoes or whatnot. So that was nice. I guess I was the lucky one for the that got bit by the tabanid. Okay, let's see. Okay, good. Orange is the new black fly. Awesome. Love it. All right, this is what we're here for. That's wonderful. Okay, so then let's see, out and about. Things, flies on leaves, of course. I like the signal. We've got some this sepsid fly. I love that you can see the genitalia out and ready, I guess. I don't know. So lots of soldier flies too, really beautiful soldier flies. I think that one on the left is a Siphonia, and they're just really beautiful. They're really diverse down there. We caught a few species of them. Of course, micropesids, you can't not show micropesids. They're adorable and amazing. And so this was on a leaf out in the middle of the jungle. Now, one of the families, one of my lifer families was Mesembrinellidae. These used to be kind of Californish type things, but they are very beautiful flies. They're kind of half iridescent. The party in the back, the iridescence in the back, and then the kind of work, business in the front there. But they are fairly big flies. I've got big fingers and ratty nails and stuff. But that's the fly sitting there and all nice. We caught a lot of these in the Shannon traps. So we put up a net, and this was Dalton Amarim's project. Throw a bunch of meat and rotting stuff underneath, and they come in, they fly in the top, and we're collecting them all over the place. So not only did I see one, I saw many, many, many of them. All right, maybe make sure this isn't okay. Good. We got some fun stuff. Good, fun chat. I like that. Okay, no technical difficulties. All right. And then, of course, Californians. Where's Ezra? I don't know. Does anybody know what genus this is? I don't know what genus this is, but it's very pretty, of course. But this was a great one. So this very beautiful Melalonca. Which species is this, Brian? One of them. Yeah. So this is a bee killing fly, one of the bee killers. But you can see her business end there. That's the giant kind of scimitar-like sword-like ovipositor that she's going to jab in the bee. So there were a lot of phorids, and Brian even showed us how you can maim queen bullet ants and get lots of phorids to come get very interested in those maimed queens. And of course, lots of stylogaster out and about, following the army ant. The army ant drives and the trails of the army ants. They're looking for the prey that's flushed out, but they were just everywhere. And I was fortunate enough somebody caught this one for me to take a photo of. Now, crane flies, I love crane flies. There were a lot of cool crane flies, actually some amazing ones. This was kind of flitting around in kind of a wood hollow, kind of a tree, and I got a flash of it, and it was just kind of dancing around in the air. Really, really cool, super, super long-legged Trentipolia. And then this one, I looked at and I thought it was a Bibionid at first. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I looked closer. And I called Dalton over because Dalton's a Bibionid. I said, hey, what is this? And he said, oh, it's a Bibionid. Oh, no, it's not. And we were like, oh, cool. This is this really beautiful crane fly there. There were a lot of actually Tucolabus down there. I don't know if this is that, but it's some kind of limoniine or limoniid, and really beautiful fuzzy legs, really beautiful looking fly. But the best one was actually collected by, I think, Cody, who is here in the audience right now. and maybe a new species. I put it up on iNaturalist, and a person was interested, and this is a super beautiful crane fly there of a Tucalabis. Apparently, a person is really interested in South American and Central American species, looked up all the descriptions and could not find a match for this one. And you'd think, with how beautiful it is, it's got to be known. But I was just so, well, we did have to recatch it a few times to get my photos because it kept flying away, it kept catching it in the room and kept all that stuff. Did get it though. And then Cody was mounted it, and it's in the collection there. Of course, the Pantophthalmids were another lifer family for me. This one Brian brought back to me. Full disclosure, it died in the vial as he was bringing it down the hill. So it was still fresh, and I posed it. You won't see the little piece of clay on the back kind of keeping it up, but it's good enough for me. It shows the family, but you got to see that head and those giant eyes. It's just really cool, really cool. Timber flies, so the flies that the larvae bore into dead wood. And this was a small one at about an inch or so long. So that was kind of a baby or whatever. Loxoniids were they were the code word for the entire trip. The students were super excited to find all these different flies and then realized that they were all Loxoniids. And so Steve loves that. We were communicating with Steve Gaimari the whole time, our fearless leader. So we've got one Loxoniid here. We've got this beautiful one right here who's in the building. We got this really beautiful one with those crazy eyes. And then we sent Steve this plate. Yeah, basically the students would find a fly and say, oh, I think it's new. Nope, it's not new. It's Loxoniid. They're just all Loxoniids everywhere. And this is just some of them. And in fact, I think Steve mentioned that one of them is probably a new genus. This one up here at the top. And actually several students collected that same type. So it's not like it's a rare thing. It's just nobody's looked at it much. But Loxoniids were great, but very frustrating for the students. Then we had the magic palm tree. So the magic palm tree, so this, we didn't even know really what it was. It's this rotting, standing, nothing was up at the top. You can see there. This is after a couple of days, Dave Grimaldi put a little vinegar, red wine vinegar trap over it to enhance the smells, but it was already very well teeming with life. Including the common clogmia, although they're very beautiful in this situation, kind of sitting out like that. Very nice Geranimia crane flies hanging out by there with their beaks and everything. Lots of Forsythia, these beautiful little punkies, really, really cute. And their larvae all over inside. So with those really cool seedy that produce this kind of globs of defensive materials, and they're very cute. Now, speaking of Forsythia, just to step away from the palm tree for a second, I was lucky enough also to see a tick fly on a stick insect. So that little white thing is actually the Forsythia that's now filled up with hemolymph from that stick insect and can barely fly away afterward. Sphaerocerids on the palm tree, Nereids, oh man, lifer family for me. What an amazing group of flies just hanging out there. One of my favorite lifers was the Rhopalomerid, which was really beautiful, very chunky, fairly large flies for what you would think, but beautiful golden stripes. Just an amazing critter. And we didn't see a lot of them though. There were some on that tree. Then we had the magic aster. There was another plant out in the parking lot that with Dalton sitting there looking very happy at this plant. And we called it the magic aster because it did attract a lot of different insects, including a lot of different flies. Some of those were these beautiful milichiids with this silver rump. And it was very, very silvery. It's blown out in the photos because it was so silvery. At first, we thought they might be Camimaiids or something like that, but turned out to be milichiids, really silvery milichiids, very cute ones. And then the next lifer family for me was the Somatiids. So Somatia, we had a bunch of them mating on this plant, courting each other. You can see actually in this next photo, you can see the ovaries kind of developing, the eggs developing in the abdomen, but they were very active on this plant. So it was a very nice, reliable source for the students to collect really cool families on there. And I'm not showing all the things that were on the magic aster. I think we called it the Somatiid plant. The Somatiid plant, that's great too. That's, you can call it anything you want, but yeah, they're all magical. So yeah. Now, this shot is probably one of my favorite shots I've ever taken, maybe the best shot I've ever taken. I'm not bragging, but it only took one photo, one shot to take this. But that was because Heo, one of the students, was like, "What's that?" And there was these little flies floating in the air very slowly. And of course, those are empidids doing what they do. Female feeding on the gift, the nuptial gift, while the male is mating with her and carrying her and everything. Just freaking amazing. And then the whole time I was looking for another species to photograph, and I was actually hoping it would land on me and bite me, and I could take the photographs, but it didn't. And I saw them around. But then as soon as I took this photo, I looked behind them, and there was a beautiful Culis and beautiful mosquito, Sabathes. This really, really, really one. This was one that I've been wanting to take a photo of for a while. Now they didn't bite me, unfortunately, but you can see how beautiful this thing is. It's just an amazing mosquito. Now we did say take some photos of some other things. This is a really it's a pretty fly. It's kind of a little drab, but it's a pretty fly. And then what's more interesting is this is probably the only live photo of this genus ever, because Steve Gaimari described this genus and these species in 2007, and up until then it was all specimens. Now Steve can correct me if I'm wrong, but I was happened to just be on the windows outside the building, and I went out there and took photos of it, and I was like, oh, there's a little brown fly, okay, and it turned out to be a really cool species. Of course, you can't, another lifer, of course, a species. This was kind of one of the biggest finds of the whole trip. In fact, it was raining, it was pouring one night, and two specimens came into the building. Otherwise, I don't think we found a single one of these. We didn't find any females, but we luckily found the males. Now, I did have a hard time trying to get a photo of this one. We had to chill it a little tiny little bit to get it back to calm down. But this is Plagiocephalus latifrons, this picture wing fly with this massive head. And when you look at it from the front, that's what it looks like. I think this, to correct me if I'm wrong, this is the most drastic of all the stalk-eyed flies. This has the most kind of extreme, maybe, of the eyes. But still, really amazing. This was easily one of the top few finds on the trip, of course. Now, some specimen photos. Of course, you can't show these other flies without showing the Pipiculus because they're really cool. You always have to show them. This was amazing. This Elastigastrid I love Elastigastrids. This is really beautiful, just kind of the sleek looking fly and everything. And if you look at the face, it's just this really beautiful patterns on the eyes. And you can see one of the characteristics of the Aristi is that zigzag kind of kinky pattern of it, of the Aristi. Now, what do we have here? So this was a specimen in alcohol. This was, I think, in one of the Malaise traps. It got there on its own, but it was carrying something. And this is a Phania, or Phaniid, with Dermatobia hominis eggs. So these are the eggs of a botfly. This is one of the biggest finds we found as well. So the bot, what's that? Yeah.
I was just asked,
yeah.
Do we really know that that's Dermatobia hominis?
Oh, it's got to be. It's got. Brian Brown just says, do we really know it's Dermatobia hominis? I don't know if any others that grab flies and lay their eggs on it. So I would imagine it's got to be. It's the right area for them. And actually, when you look up closer, you can see how spiky those larvae are. They're exiting the. So what had happened is some mother Dermatobia grabbed this fly, laid its eggs on it, let it go. Then it got into our Malaise trap, and then what happens is I think when the alcohol started to get to the larvae, they tried to quick escape and then got frozen in time. But this was really amazing. Erica McAllister was so giddy about this, of course, all the grossness of it. But it was amazing. This was a specimen. This is the back of the specimen, not the spider, though that's where I took a photo of that spider in Costa Rica too, my first lifer pirate spider. But I just wanted to illustrate this. This is the rear view of a Eulodeid fly in Xanthochrona, in this genus Xanthochrona. So you can see those wing patterns make it look like legs of the spider, and then the scutellum is very convincingly eye patterned like a spider. And when you look at it from the side, it's even weirder, because it's very, very drastic how this looks. All right, so that's the Costa Rica ones. I just want to show you a few more cool things I found near my house and around, but just a couple more slides. So, going out and about, I found my favorite cycodid. This is one of the coolest flies ever. Little tiny, tiny Cetamima. And you can see those little iridescent scales on the wings and really beautiful. And this is right down the street from my house in North Carolina. Apparently live, I think, breed in tree holes and things like that. So also in Western North Carolina, there's mountains. Went to a trip. We found some lovely flies, but this was, I think, my favorite. This really beautiful golden abdomened acylid there. Out in Oregon, we took a family vacation to Oregon and Northern California. There weren't a lot of insects as much in the parks as I thought, but there were tons of orange muscoid flies like this, and this one I just thought was super hairy and super interesting looking. And also in those areas with the ferns and kind of these low gullies and stuff like that, were tons of impidids, tons of dance flies, really beautiful species, just all out and about. There were also some other hybatid dance flies in the flowers. I found tons of these in the flowers on one of the trails, and I just love the difference in the male on the left and the female on the right, and the eyes and everything. Just really cute little flies hanging out in the flowers, all covered in pollen. Okay, and then finally, we took a little family trip. Oh, no, actually, my wife and I just took a trip to Vieques, an island off the coast of Puerto Rico. And I found lots of cool things there, but this took the cake for the whole trip. This we found at a rum distillery. This is not a photo, obviously, but this took the cake. I was at a rum distillery and I looked over at a banana plant, and if I can, okay. So we got this, and it's funny, huh? I love it. So I noticed immediately that there's something weird about this fly, obviously. I think it's drunk or something of rum. But yeah, see how tiny it is? But that was my wife helping out, prodding it a little bit. But and of course, sorry for the shaky phone video, but you can see it's going back and forth, never changing directions. Anybody want to guess what this is? Okay. It is apparently Stenomicra, or whatever. We don't know what family really is. It could be. It's been an Alazagasteridae. It's been a couple others, but just really cool little fly. And again, such a little tiny fly could bring out such joy in me. I'm happy. So with that, I really appreciate you all coming here. I'm going to thank the presenters and all of those who attended. We really appreciate your support. We really appreciate you coming out here. Look out for the calls for presentations for next year. When the time comes, you could be up here talking to fellow Dipterists or other people that are going to learn to be inspired, or just find out how amazing flies are. And with that, I think we're going to end the program. And thank you for everybody who attended online. Let's see some of these. Let's see. There's a lot of unrelated insects in different colors in Central and South America. There's orange or black patterns like that. Yep. Yeah. So lots of things have that color. Neurochetidae. Oh, yep. So yep. So neurochetids, I think some of those are the upside down flies, which are very similar. Yeah, so great. I'm glad you all had a good time on Zoom land. Thank you all for attending, and hope you have a great rest of the meeting. All right.